Hello, everybody. It's Mary Pat and Whitney. Welcome to Matters Over Miles. Why are you putting up both your hands?
I just put both of my hands up to say like double high. I don't know.
It's very cute. Hello.
Whatever.
Anyways, double hi to everybody.
Double high.
Meaning a double greeting of hello, not any other connotation of that phrase. Okay. So today is episode 5 of the podcast. 1, 2, 3.
Cinco.
Did you just count it on your? Oh my gosh!
I did. I'm not sure why I needed to use my fingers to count to 5 in Spanish, but
was it helpful?
Yeah,
I'm happy for you.
I was confused cuatro and cinco, because they both start with C.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
Quattro,
It starts with C.
Q.
No.
Yeah. I'm looking this up. Yeah, I think you're wrong.
We're going to look it up.
Quattro and cinco are not. Cinco is C-I-N-C-O. Quattro is...
What is...
4.
The number 4 in Spanish. It's
C.
I know because of the coffee
not.
shop. The coffee shop that I work at, we had a coffee called Quattro, and it is, in fact, C-U-A-T-R-O.
Well, it doesn't sound that way at all. All right. Well, okay. So basically the C is kind of like a Q, though.
Yes.
Because it's spelled
like with a Q. It's C-U, yeah.
So I'm not
You're not
wrong.
Terribly off. It's just...
I'm just wrong.
The fact is that you're wrong. Anyway, I confused Quattro and Cinco, and this is the Cinco episode 5.
Yes. Now that we've established that.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
How long?
I'm glad we got
We
there.
just spent 5 minutes talking about Spanish as if we know any other Spanish besides for how to count to 10.
I know a few. I'm not going to go over them.
Yeah, no,
One of
we're
them's
not
taco.
doing that. We're not doing... It was Taco Tuesday yesterday. That is a current event.
Ole.
Taco Tuesday on
Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco de Mayo. Pretty awesome.
So...
Convergence of calendar...
Yes.
Situations.
Not when this is going to release, though. Whenever this does release.
Yeah.
Far into the future from now.
We
So
did
hello,
have
future
tacos
people.
yesterday, though.
Yeah, they're good. They're
Good
yummy.
stuff. Other current events.
Oh, yes. Current events.
We're still
Oh, man.
sheltering in place, but we're really not anymore because everybody around here is getting kind of tired of it. And all the other counties surrounding Nashville are pretty much kind of opening back up slowly,
But not.
we're still not. So
not
people
our
are now
county.
just getting in their cars and driving other places to get what they feel they need to get.
Yes. So going to restaurants and different things.
Yeah.
So there's that. But you had a current event that you were kind of excited about.
Oh, yes.
Go ahead. Tell the
My
people.
mother was very kind, and it's kind of interesting. It's Mother's Day on Sunday.
Yes.
And as mothers do, they are always giving to you when really you at some point should be giving to them.
Well, your mom is, for sure.
But my
mom does that too.
yes, I think that's what I meant by mothers.
Us, okay.
But our
I was
mothers,
like, not everybody.
not everybody's mother.
everybody's
Okay,
mom
I
does
get
that.
it. I got that.
Okay. Just releasing people from that.
She bought me some shoes that I wanted, and I've long been pining for a pair of Nike Air Force Ones. And today, I am wearing them.
They're beautiful. So there's like a black ribbon on the bottom, and then it's like a white platform, and then it's like this really great cream meringue beige.
Meringue.
Thank you very much. Color,
Wow.
and there's like
With
plastic
gold. Yeah.
black swooshes that are they're like kind of shiny, and then like gold. What do you call that thing in the front?
I don't know.
There's a
it's like
technical
the
term for it.
shoelace little brace thing.
Somebody
that keeps,
knows the actual term, but there's that. But they're
very beautiful.
They're fly,
and this
for
is
sure.
the first day that I've worn them because
sick
I haven't had much of a reason to go, out
and wear shoes.
in public and wear nice shoes. So
Yep.
I thought I'd wear them for you guys
That's
today.
your current event.
It's my current event.
My current event is that I watched Rise of Skywalker.
My gosh. On Star Wars Day.
Yes. And it was fantastic. I'd only seen it the one time in the theater, and that was perfect.
Did you watch it again yesterday?
parts of it. Yes,
you did.
I did.
She watched, so people, you need to know, she watched it 2 days in a row.
Okay, I really wanted to just push play again after we finished the whole thing, but then it would have been like 4 a.m. So I was like, nope.
How do you do that? How can you literally stand to watch the same like 3-hour-long movie?
It's a perfect story.
Like,
how can you not?
Yeah, but like I think Lord of the Rings is a perfect story, but like when it's over,
that's a lot though.
I'm not like, yes, let's start it over again.
I don't know. There's nuances in this particular set, the past 3 movies, that really got to me. It was very
it's a pretty
deep
redemptive,
and wide. That's what I mean.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
like
See?
The idea of movies being like when they have like redemptive qualities, I think they're more watchable to me. But I don't know. I think I can only handle so much of the like trying to like live through somebody else's story. It makes me like start thinking about...
That just proves my empathic nature like to the nth degree.
Yeah, it makes me start thinking about my own life. Like,
don't you love that though?
Yes, I do love that. But then at some point I'm like, okay, now I need to go.
You don't want to anymore?
Journal or something.
Yes.
Not like watch it again.
Oh, but then you can journal and do it at the same time. Okay, so I'm gonna release.
No, I just want to eat when I watch movies. So like, if you wanted to watch a movie again, I'd be like, okay, that's fine, but we need to order a pizza.
Is that all it will take? Are you serious? Did you just state what it's going to take? Because you might have just
time will tell. Because now I
floodgates.
know for sure that at some point next week we're going to watch a movie on a night where we're sitting at home doing nothing, because that's what we do at night now.
I'm so excited.
And you're going to be like, let's watch it again.
Okay, hold up. Let me tell you why.
Let's order a pizza and then watch it again.
My current event, though, is attached to the depth of the story. And if you haven't seen this movie yet, fast forward about 5 minutes, because I'm going in and there'll be
spoiler alert.
Like I don't care. I do, but I don't. I do, but I don't.
People that care have already seen it.
Right?
Let's be real.
Okay. Then that
I had never seen it until the other night, and it's because I simply don't care. Okay. I'm sorry. This podcast,
stick a knife in my heart.
This podcast is really going to serve as like a way for people to pick which one of us they like better.
Yes. Pick me. Pick me.
Some people are like, yeah, Whit, I totally get it. Like Star Wars, I don't understand why
What's
everybody
the big deal?
loves it.
And then other people are like,
what's wrong, Whitney, I hate you now. I'll never trust you to lead me in worship again.
Okay, here's why I liked it. So the constant tension that Ray and I'm just going to say it, Ray and Ben have with each other the entire time through all 3 movies. I think for me, what was cool is that a lot of people, when I read different forums,
oh boy, we're in it now,
behind the scenes stuff about, what they were thinking between their relationship and how they're representatives of, the power struggle of dark and light side of the Force, but even more so than that with Skywalker reign and, spoiler alert, fast forward, please, Palpatine. It was just like, this is incredible. But what I loved is that, stop. I don't care. I'm a nerd. I don't care. I love it. It's a good story. It's just a good story. What I loved is, what I didn't love is that people the whole time while they're going back and forth and they're trying to figure out who each of them are within the series and then who they are to each other and why there's this really strong connection between them. A lot of the world was waiting for like their sexual tension basically to be like absolved.
Yeah, to explode.
And you know what I loved?
Which is like kind of what, that's sort of what Anakin and Padme had happened in a way, right?
Yes, but totally different because Padme doesn't have the Force and Anakin does.
Right. Okay.
So it's a little bit.
So you're saying I'm trying to understand. You're saying that because both of them have a Force, then it's like there should be more sexual tension.
No, I'm saying that the rest of the world was waiting for it because they have no other connotation between relationship except the sexual tension. I
appreciate that.
And here's what I felt the whole time. I felt like it was these really young, vibrant, passionate people trying to figure out who they were, and they just seemed to be caught in the crossfire of figuring it out and they both kind of were
with somebody
friction.
else's
and
agenda attached to them.
Yes, and the thing is, being addicted to pornography, having been addicted to pornography at a very young age, me personally, and walking through all these different moments in movies where there's always this buildup of sexual tension and it's displayed in every facet within society, it just gets tiresome after a while. Not just gets tiresome.
It gets tiresome having not been addicted to pornography.
Well, it's just it's just so annoying because there's so many other beautiful factions to relationships besides just sex. Yeah. So what I loved is that the entire time that I watched the movie, I never felt this sexual tension between them. I just felt, I just felt like Ray, the conflict that she could sense in Ben with him trying to go to the dark side and her basically being like, her fighting her own self, not knowing that she's the freaking granddaughter of the evil emperor, you know, and that she's fighting it the whole time and that it's winning, that the light side is winning inside of her and that Ben is basically being a brat the whole time and he's like struggling with not living up to the name that he's always had, you know, like his...
But he never... We talked about this yesterday a little bit because I just desperately need help interpreting Star Wars movies and Marvel movies. Go ahead. Hate me some more. I know. I don't understand most of those movies. So I always have to ask MP and like our other friends who really like all of those movies a lot of questions because I don't understand. But it seems like Kylo doesn't ever...
Makes me sad.
He's never like Kylo bought and sold by the dark side. He's never like convinced of it. Like it's like he's working on behalf of Palpatine or whatever, but he sort of always
at the end.
He always has like his own agenda.
To discredit everything else from before. Well, I think that you liked the rogue aspect of him. I liked that he was... I think that if he would have won out in the end, ruling everything, it would have gone really bad really quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah, that he's like warring against what he knows he should do, warring against what he hates, warring against the fact that in order to get what he wants, he has to go to the dark side, all these different things. And it's like, and really, I think that he was just a really pissed off kid that didn't want to live up to his dad's name and his grandpa's name. And I'm going... This is so complex and beautiful. But anyways, let me get to the end. Why I really loved it.
I like
Kylo. Yeah. Hey.
For the record. I kind of appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. So at the end, when Rey and Ben finally, the Emperor's defeated and Ben crawls up out of that hole and basically... Rey has given her whole life and he so spoiler when he transfers that life force to her, which she did earlier on in the movie, like I love it. It's so beautiful. And I think what I love is that at the end when she kind of comes back to life, so to speak, and she looks in his face and she finally says, Ben, she gets to see what she's seen all along.
Right.
And it's like, it's so celebratory. So when they do have that last kiss, first and only,
it's not like super sexy.
Okay, but you know what? It was so funny. Like when I saw it in the theaters, I felt like the rest of the world probably was waiting for their sexual tension to be slaked with that moment. And for me, it caught me completely off guard. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so redemptive. And it felt like someone, like a hug was not going to mean as much giving it from Rey to Ben. And that when they like pulled away and Ben's like smiling at her, he's like, I know, I'm back. I'm right here. Like I'm finally what I've always been.
And then he dies.
But that was what he got to be himself. And then he was able to be like kind of, dissolved into the Force.
Well, it is like very spiritual because
it's spiritual.
It's like his major journey basically was just like, I just want somebody to know who I am actually.
See?
And then Rey finally gets it and he's like, all right, cool. I'm going to give you my life force.
I'm good.
Goodbye.
I'm good.
Yeah. Cool.
So my current event is that...
Buy me a pizza. Let's watch it again.
Yes. Finally. I loved it. But for me, while I'm in the middle of the theater too, God is letting me know that not all relationships are bent on this big, huge sexual buildup. Some of it is just, what else, like, how else are you going to tell someone that you're the most proud of them in that moment? You know, if people didn't, if there wasn't so much shame attached with kissing someone, like it just felt like such innocence. Like when a little kid is like so happy for their friend, they're like, hooray, and they kiss them on the face, and you're like, you have no problem just going for it. And they're like, yay, buddy, way to go. Like I've seen our friends at church, like their kids, like when they were younger, just be, mwah, so good. And there's nothing in it besides like full love, full joy, full innocence, full appreciation, full like being proud of them.
Yeah.
And like whether or not he would have lived and they would have gone out and done something and like, you know, woo, been the power couple of the galaxy.
Wow.
But I for me, it just,
their kid would have for sure been on the dark side.
You're the worst. You're the worst. You're the worst. Oh my gosh. All right, we're done. We can be done now.
We've talked about Star Wars for 10 minutes. You now can be die happy
Man.
Because you've somehow snaked Star Wars content into our podcast. I can't. This is the longest conversation I've ever had about Star Wars, by the way.
But okay, fine. But it means something to me. And not that like, and this is also to say that I get it. Sex is not bad, blah, 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 blah. But in that moment, for me, God was able to redeem something that everybody else, when I'd read all these forums and all these different discussions, they're like, man, I'm such a letdown. And then he died. And it's like, okay, but
like
he won. He won.
It wasn't like actually enough for most people.
Yes,
like
for me, it was more than enough.
Like the payoff was like substantial enough. Yeah,
they both won.
Yeah, I get it.
Won. It was a perfect victorious moment. And a lot of people don't like sad
endings,
endings, but I was like,
kudos to you, George Lucas. I'm sure you're listening. We approve.
Oh my gosh. All right. So
what are we talking about this week?
Meat and potatoes.
Besides for R2D2 and C3PO.
And BB-8. I'm so proud of you for knowing all of that.
Okay.
Good job.
R2D2
No, why are you doing this? You said we were done and now we're being pulled back in.
R2D2 is the little...
Nope. No. I'm not doing this. I don't want them to hate you with proof. Don't give anybody any things.
Fine.
The small one is the round one. That's BB-8.
No, BB-8 is the little ball. He's a snowman looking one. Yeah. That's orange. R2D2 is he's like the
dome kind of one. All right, we're done.
And C3PO is the gold guy.
Yes, very good.
Don't. Wait.
Yes.
I'm going to impress you.
Oh.
That little Anakin builds when he lives on the dusty planet.
Whitney. Nope, don't.
Tatooine.
Shut up.
Oh.
All right, now we can segue.
You owe me a pizza for sure
yes,
now.
God, I don't mind. I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Tell the people what we're talking about this week.
Meat and potatoes.
Meat and potatoes.
Meat and potatoes.
This is kind of like I feel like it's like a bison steak and sweet potatoes. That's what this content is.
Wow.
It's like very
that sounds delicious.
It's good for you, but it's like
lean.
It's lean.
It's gonna do the trick.
Kind of like, you know what? It'll make you feel great by the time you're done with it.
Wow.
Nothing too heavy.
Wow. Okay, so the topic we're going to talk about, well, it's a word that we have kind of
I'm sure somebody else made it up before.
That's probably true. Flexitude.
The combination of two words in the human language known as flexible attitude. Flexitude.
And where did we come up with that? And why?
Yeah.
Is probably the bigger
We
thing.
came up with it from basically having a life that can't be controlled in any facet at any point in time. Doesn't matter how hard I try, what aspect of my... You know what I can control? I can clean. So when I get very stressed out, I just start to pick up things and throw things away do the dishes.
But even that, sometimes you're not allowed to move things because you can't do that.
Yeah, it's not.
It's a facade.
What I can control is all the shoes that sit next to the door. Drives me insane.
You guys.
It only really drives me insane when I'm feeling like kind of stressed and when I'm needing to exercise flexitude. And I'm like, you know what? No, I need to prove that I'm in control of something. I'm taking these shoes and I'm putting them where they belong.
And then my room gets a pile of shoes in it that
that's basically
had not seen
all
before.
The control that I can actually exercise in life. Everything else is completely up in the air.
And subject to change.
And subject to immediate and utter chaos.
Oh my gosh.
At any time. And if anything taught me about that, it is having the year of 2019 be what it was.
Yes.
We'll get into that a little bit. And then having 2020 start out with...
It's just been...
Oh my gosh. Having 2020 be like, you know what? 2020 is like... Oh,
yeah, we could...
It's our year. We're going to have such a good year in 2020. Like 2019 was so hard. And like I finally feel like I'm walking into something new. And then it's like, how about a massive natural disaster and then a global pandemic?
Well, I think
how much control do you think you have?
I think
really? How much?
Probably should rewind a little bit because that's not going to mean anything. So 2018, October, we decided to do another album. And October to January was prepping for that and doing a Kickstarter.
We did the Kickstarter in February. Right. But planning up for the Kickstarter. So just kind of videos. Oh my gosh, we were doing our music videos, the live worship music videos. Yeah.
And then we had to record a video that told people what the Kickstarter was going to be about.
But we decided we didn't want to do, kind of partially because the music industry has changed so much. We didn't want to just do an album. With 10 songs on it like normal.
Right, God.
We were like, what if we did less songs but like more content so like people could connect to the songs like in more than just, oh, I listen to stuff on Spotify 24/7 365, so these are just 7 more songs in a big cacophony of music that is always pumping.
Words.
I like the word cacophony. It's great.
How about you explain it?
It sounds like
what it
is.
Well, maybe you should tell
There's a
people.
word for that and I can't remember what it is, but maybe the next episode I will have the answer to that question. It sounds like what it is. Cacophony just means like chaotic noise.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So like a symphony is like everything's in sync.
So it's not a
cacophony is like everything's not in sync. It's like in disarray.
Okay.
Yeah, so we decided we're going to do art pieces. We're writing this devotional book to go along with the songs. We're going to have, obviously, the audible music, and then we're also going to have music videos for every single song. And at the time, we were like, I mean, how hard can it be,
Whatever.
right?
Writing a full book, 7 music videos with storylines and timing, art pieces... that each are attached to every single song.
We're just like, we know like all these cool people that can help us with all this stuff.
Duh.
And like,
it's fine.
It's going to be like not that hard. We'll probably do it in like a week or so.
Week or so? Whatever.
I don't know.
I think we imagined it taking about 4 months from January.
We honestly thought it was going to be completed by like May of 2020. So then we got to speed through this because there's a lot of crazy stuff that happened. But like, get into January, we start the process of doing the Kickstarter. We get our recording dates pushed back once because we weren't, we needed...
Well, the Kickstarter didn't launch the date that we thought it was
the
going
Kickstarter
to.
didn't launch on the right time.
This whole project started off backwards before we even started. So it launched about 4 days afterwards. And then...
That was because of a hiccup that Kickstarter was having. They got like an overload of projects at the same time and they couldn't get them all approved
when they
in
said
the right time. So that got pushed back. Our original recording dates got pushed back. So we ended up we got to the end of the Kickstarter. We made our goal.
Yeah.
It was like $27,000 or something like that.
Crazy amount of money.
At the same time as that, we had launched our nonprofit, Water Within Ministries, where we had sent out...
Wow.
We sent out kind of just info letters to some people who've been really supportive of us.
Not officially, but with in the background of everything. Okay. I was like, what? No,
so in the same month that $27,000 was given towards our Kickstarter, we also had $15,000 given towards Water Within Ministries, which is great. So we were feeling super great. At the end of February, it was wow.
Yeah.
God's totally providing for all of this stuff. This is cool. So then after that, we got into March. We started to record. Our producer ended up getting a kidney stone in like and let me just say, like, recording dates are like hard to come by in Nashville because it's like you have to get all the right people not on tour and planning their schedules out accordingly. So it's like usually you plan it like months in advance to try and make sure that it accommodates everybody's schedules.
Yeah.
Well, our producer got a kidney stone. The other guy that was helping to produce on it was just having like a really rough time.
He was just tired from being on tour and away from his family.
Kind of had some adrenal fatigue happening.
Yeah, so it was just a lot.
We got asked if we could push the recording dates back. And pretty much it was like...
We set aside that time so that we would specifically not work. Mm-hmm. And then when the dates were pushed back, it was like, now we have this empty space that we don't have any dates for.
Yeah, we don't have any travel dates, but also we're not doing anything at home. And now we're going to have to cancel tour dates in the future to be able to record at a later time. Yeah. So it completely jacked up our whole schedule for 2019. Yeah. Like, it just, we ended up having like this cattywampus like travel schedule. We're trying to patch things together so that we can... afford our rent and like still honor the dates that we had scheduled with places that we had to cancel on. So that was pretty crazy. Then like right at the same intersection of time, we had our buddy Nick, who normally travels with us and is part of like our nonprofit and stuff, ended up taking another job that he had kind of always been entertaining and thinking about going on the road as a audio guy. Yeah. And so he got picked up with a country artist. So all of a sudden, like, that was all happening in the same kind of intersection of all of these changes. So
it just felt like major changes when we had planned stuff pretty specifically.
We felt like specifically proud of ourselves that we were like, oh my goodness,
adulting.
This whole year we have like kind of loosely mapped out. We know well enough not to plan everything to the date.
Right.
Because that's like not how things usually go. But we have loosely planned everything. We've projected like our goals and like how we're going to work and like how we're going to have this like method and flow of things. And it's kind of like a little bit predictable. And then it was literally like rugs, like rugs after rugs after rugs after rugs just kept getting pulled out. And we were like, have I done something incorrect? Like, am I misunderstanding like this concept of like time management and like planning thing and like trying to be respectful of everybody else's lives and like their priorities?
And I felt like that was a question that we kept praying. It was like, Lord, what did we do wrong? What are we doing wrong? Is there something else that you're trying to teach us? And I think that it was just a very casual follow me. Yeah. And I'm like, but I am mad from the bottom of my feet to the top of my head. Why is all this stuff happening? Yeah. I mean, like, dealing with the idea of abandonment, dealing with the idea of like plans and different stuff, but it was deeper than that.
Well,
it was like
finances,
life.
Like all,
everything
it's always
was
like
wrapped up in
finance
in
is
one
always like
spot.
the first thing, right? That kind of starts to feel like, oh my gosh, I have no idea what's going on. And then it was like every other, because we needed to have the recording before we had the videos. We needed to have the recording before we had the art pieces that were inspired by the song. I mean, we had all of these things were like subjected to the actual recording of the audio, which kept getting kind of pushed back.
And with it being pushed back, we couldn't create, like you said, we couldn't create all of those extra things. So music videos were pushed back, the artwork was pushed back, and all of
the book still isn't out.
Oh my gosh. It's coming
really
though.
close.
It's so close, you guys.
It's
so
very beautiful. And it has ended up being way longer than I think it's going to end up being like 150 pages.
It's going to be so good.
Which is crazy.
But I think so we're hitting in the middle of the summer when all of this stuff is happening, finally going out on the road, finally doing stuff. And then we get to mastering and different stuff. Mm-hmm. And we're like, this is going to release like, July or August. And then that even gets pushed back. And then finally we get to September and we do finally release the album. And we have all the things. We've got all the artwork. We've got like a few music videos done, at least one of them, at that time. And then we decide to have this release party at a church in town that we love. Shout out home church. We love you guys. Pastor Jason, you're the best. And they just let us kind of hang out there and create kind of like this homey party. And I made s'mores bars, and the whole idea of the backwards kingdom, and our friend, Brian Eggers, he got to do some worship songs and stuff in the beginning. And then we were able to walk through each song with everyone in the audience, like had a bunch of people from our church and around town come. And the thing is that we had been building up towards this moment, and then the moment is here and it's arrived. And then the next day it feels like the wind is gone. Just out of the sails.
It just is like we've literally worked for like 10 months on this thing. And now it's just like womp womp.
And because it took so much blood, sweat, and tears to get to that moment, it felt like it should have been celebrated more. It felt like I don't know. I think back of my heart, I'm going, this should be more famous than it is, because I worked a lot harder on this.
Yeah.
And it deserves more attention. And I just keep hearing God say, follow me. Yep. Like, that's the point of this whole thing. And I think what we realized with Flexitude, flexible attitude, is that God was asking us to have a spirit that was willing to be shepherded the whole time. In the valleys, on the mountaintops, in the middle of the plains, like green, lush hills, rocky, stumbling foot places. And what was interesting to me is something that I said to people as we walked through all of this stuff throughout that whole year, is they're like, how you doing? It's like, well, here's the thing. I knew a long time ago that I was going to say yes to God. And this year, it just feels like everything is trying to prove me wrong. And it keeps asking me, are you going to keep saying yes? And
so to the point where you're just like, oh, stop, my gosh.
Yeah.
Ask me one more time.
Yeah, go ahead. Ask me. See what I'm going to say. Oh, that's right. I'm still going to choose him. So stop trying to ask me to do something different. It was like this resolve that was being sealed into me. Like, do you love me? I love you. What are you doing?
Yeah.
And it was nice to be able to stand in front of God and basically say, why are you doing this? And him being like, keep coming. And I think what we were able, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that we would have been able to walk into this year what we're doing now. If
holy smokes,
we wouldn't have had all of this prep time.
Yep.
And like even before we started, like 2018 December, your grandpa died. And it was like the first time that you've ever really dealt with like a death in your immediate family.
Yes.
Besides your like great grandma, but like a person that's been so intricately involved. So while you're dealing with like understanding grief, like it's being compounded. Like you're dealing with the physical.
Grief. It's like actual like grief of like death of somebody, but then there was like all these other things that I was like,
grief upon grief.
Everything is dying.
Everything's being taken away.
Like
Everything's
my desire is dying. My understanding is dying. Like metaphysical things that are not like. Obviously, yes. Like my plans and like all of these things like that are evident are dying.
Yeah.
And like it's loss, but like also like things like. I feel like it was my beliefs, like the way that I was thinking about stuff and like the way that I was like starting to see things. I was like, this is all coming apart.
Yeah.
It was just like a very like I won't say fragmenting because I think
everything was connected.
Fragmenting is like what happens at the hands of evil. And I don't think that it was like
so good.
Something evil. I think that it was just God was using just very like natural things to draw us closer to him. And it was that everything really was very interwoven.
It felt very Joby. And there's some people, like, let me just say, like, I get it. There's some people that have been through much worse, and I'm not discrediting that. It was just like, you think this is hard? Let's see if you'll think this is hard. Oh, that was hard.
It was like
now
layers.
This is hard.
There was
and
like levels of it.
It did. It felt like someone was asking God permission. Do you mind if I mess that up? And he's like, they're still going to choose me. help yourself. But, and I'm going, why are you using me?
Yeah. And we had like, I mean, all the dumb, like car troubles.
Oh, so many like little things interwoven in all of that. Like, oh, here's an unexpected payment that you need to do. Both of us had
our cars in the shop like 2 different times. To the tune of like $500 or $600 a piece, like each time that
it was just like
it was like silly things.
But now that we're here going through stuff like and different job opportunities too. Like I had like babysitting jobs, and it's like God would let me in ahead of it when they were going to get ready to go away. And then I would get the call, and it would be like, of course,
continuing to like kind of flex in and out of like transient, because we didn't have any money really. So it was kind of like we had to pick up some random stuff, and then it would be like, here's a little bit that you need for this month.
That you need right now, but
and
you don't need it on this.
God would kind of be like, okay, now I'm going to close that door, and you're going to go over here. And yeah, it sounds kind of like maybe like a little bit like, not that big of a deal. But it's when there's anything in your life that causes you to really like look in the mirror and be like, who am I and what the heck am I doing with my life is like a pretty pivotal moment in time. So yes, I would agree. And I said, I think last week, can you imagine the kind of terrible person I would be right now to be like stuck in an apartment with for like 6 weeks at a time had I not been like birthed through that like yucky feeling of last year? I would be a monster. Wreck. But as it stands now, it's like I wake up in the morning, I make myself coffee, I go sit on my porch for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I just kind of like am. I'm not trying to fill up my life with like being productive and like proving that all of my plans can still be somehow like sewn together in this like disgusting looking quilt. It's just like, well, all my plans have been totally screwed for the whole rest of the year. And I mean, everything, like our tour, our finances are completely like flipped around. Like all the things that we had planned on like releasing, like even this podcast and all this stuff is like nothing. And everybody's plans have been not just me by any means, but everybody's plans have been completely turned around.
I felt like 2019, it was the get ready for this moment. Because we both would have been crazy people.
Oh, yeah.
And I know that there's a lot of stuff that's going on where there's a lot of like trauma being instituted from isolation and depression and kids staying home when they should be with their friends and parents having to deal with that and people generally always being around people. Like it's a very weird, unnatural way to do life.
Yes.
But I think that when we were talking a little bit about Flexitude, I just kept thinking of all the different Bible stories of people that had to be flexible when God asked them to do things.
Like all of them? All the people in the Bible?
It's like, I want you to go do this. I'm sorry, you want me to build a boat in the middle of the desert? No, that's a very weird thing to do. No,
the way you just said no was exactly how I want to say no for the rest of my life.
No.
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 Just like, that's so silly. No.
But and I talked to Whit about Hebrews 11. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm not going to even. There's so much, but it's like lot. By faith, by faith, by faith, by faith.
Yeah,
and I think
all the people did all the things.
But we read Bible stories, and it's like you know the end of the story. If you've never heard the story, there's like this really beautiful aha moment because you get to like experience it for the first time.
David killed Goliath.
What?
Holy smokes.
No way. He only had the sling? That's amazing. But we don't think that. You know, like if you were asked to go and
do some of those things.
Yeah, you would be so scared and so, I mean, you might have the conviction and the bravery to do it, but it's like you still have to do it. Like I don't care how confident you are. There's still that that your adrenaline's going. It's nerve-wracking. You're in the middle of it and you're going, okay, let's see if this is going to pan out. And every single Bible story, it's like, just because you know the end of the story doesn't mean that the people who were doing those things knew what the end was going to be. By faith, with a flexible attitude to do whatever it is. Some of them had never even met God. How is that a thing either? You don't even know the person that's talking to you, who's basically like, I want you to go walk around, the wall 7 times and it's going to fall down. Jericho, that situation. Joshua. Sorry, mixing everything up. Joshua knows God because he's seen his predecessor like hang out with him, Moses, face to face, as talking with God as a friend. No big deal. Or was that Abraham that had that quote? Anyways, both of those people saw God face to face, but then Joshua's being asked to step up and do something he's never done before. And it's like, hey, guess what? Your leader just passed away. Time for you to,
but I think that's
go to the next level.
That's an interesting example, right? Because the children of Israel literally consistently were given opportunities to be flexible and to trust God and to have faith. And it was like this experience of 40 years of God continuing to help them have faith in him.
Yeah.
And it's not like,
wow. Yeah.
It's not like you just need to, I think sometimes for me specifically, I feel like God is like, I just want you to prove that you're loyal to me. And it's like, that's got a feeling to it.
It's got a dictatorship kind of taste to it. That's gross.
But really you need faith to live your life in general. So it's not like they just walked around in the wilderness and then finally he was like, oh, good, you passed the test. Now you can come into the promised land. It was like, I need to build up this muscle in you so that when you get into they had 13 battles.
Right.
Once they got into the promised land.
Come on.
That they had to do what God said and trust him and also obey him and not just be like, whatever, we're going to do it this way, because they would have been killed. So Joshua, when he's marching around Jericho, it's like, that's for Joshua. Moses had exercised all of this faith in the wilderness.
Wow.
And then once they get into the promised land, it's like, okay, Joshua, now you need to have the faith that is required to continue to walk with me through your life. So here's another thing for you to do. And I think that's just how life is. You go from thing to thing that requires you to have Flexitude, but really to invite a faith growing opportunity, because if you stop having if you at some point are like, okay, now I want to be in control and I don't want to have faith anymore, then it really is you can run all the marathons that you want to run, but if you stop running for a year, you're not going to be able to just jump up and go run a marathon again. You need to continuously exercise that muscle. So I think that God knows what he's doing and giving you the things that are in your life.
So being flexible so that you can actually touch your toes.
Yeah, right.
If you have to keep practicing at
it.
I think that what we're going to segue into for the next podcast episode is that a lot of times when you have a flexible attitude and you see God doing these things in your life, you just see a long string of disappointment. I think we don't see the faith being built with endurance. We see...
You got to have a bigger picture.
We see the disappointment and how he's let us down again and again and again. And I know for a fact that there are so many different things that have looked like mistakes that are actually not. Favor ain't fair. But if we have a really... heavy understanding of shame in our lives, then we cannot see the glory. We cannot see the gold out of having a flexible attitude. We just see, great. Once again, my life has proved that everything is hard and that this is just how it's always going to be.
Yeah. And I think we'll continue talking about Moses in the next episode.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
Yeah. Oof. Whoa. I think we're not going to do song for this one too long, but because this is just so rich, we're good, but go listen to one of your favorite songs. Actually, I would suggest listening to Corey Asbury, Finally Found Where I Belong.
Oh yeah,
because I think that what I have learned out of all of this Flexitude is that the one thing that stays consistent that I actually do want and I believe in and I say yes to again and again is the presence of God.
Yep.
Everything else can change, but he never does.
Again, let's keep talking about Moses in the next episode.
Okay, well, thank you guys so much for showing up to episode 5 of Matters Over Miles on our topic of Flexitude. Also, if you guys know of someone else, or if you yourself would like to be a patron, if you would like to be a supporter of our podcast, it is a part of our nonprofit efforts at Water Within Ministries. Just to be able to create these type of things, this particular resource, it does cost money, but we'd love for you to be able to partner with us in supporting this avenue of our ministry. So if you want to do that, go to www.water-within.com/WWM, and there will be a drop-down button for the donate page, and you can just support podcast Matter Over Miles. All right. Thanks, guys, so much for being with us. We love you. We're proud of you. Don't be afraid to have a flexible attitude, and we'll see you next time.
Double bye.
Double bye.
Thanks so much for joining us on the Matters Over Miles podcast, a resource of Water Within Ministries. If you would like to be a supporter of the show, head over to water-within.com/WWM and click the donate button at the bottom of the page. All donations are tax deductible and greatly appreciated. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.